So I'm back from my 1 week vacation to beautiful, cold, freezing, snowy Minnesota. Let me see if I can add some more adjectives. Uh, Freezing, cold, scary, icy. It was not my best trip. And let me tell you why. So we got to Minnesota a week ago Monday, landed, everything was fine, no real snow, nothing like that. Went to our hotel room. It was like midnight. We had flown in late. Next morning we get up, very cold. I think it did snow a little the next morning, but like flurries. It was nothing real big. So Tuesday, I went and saw my son. I was so excited to see him and his girlfriend. We went to their house. So that night, we went out to dinner, had a nice dinner. We were in the middle of having dinner, and all of a sudden, I started having like pain in my heart, like in my chest, I guess. And it just kept going and going. I didn't say anything to anybody. My heart was racing. I just felt really off. Finished dinner and got in the car. Seemed to be getting a little bit worse. I told my son, my husband, his girlfriend, I'm not really sure what's going on. I've been feeling this now for about a half an hour and maybe 20 minutes. And I don't know, I may need to go to the hospital. I don't want to, but something isn't right. So we ended up going back to their house rather than going to the ER, which I think was a mistake. We went back to the house. I thought I'm going to try to wait this out a few minutes, see if it gets better. I've had AFib like 8 to 10 years ago, and this was different. I was just having a lot of other weird symptoms with it, so I really didn't think it was AFib. And about 5 minutes after I sat down, I said to my son, could you take me to the ER? I think this is worse. I better get in. I don't know what's going on. So we got in his car, started driving to the ER. Halfway there, I was shutting down. I was having severe, severe heart problems. I should not have waited. So lesson learned, if you have problems, call 911. Get to the hospital. Don't fiddle around and try to doctor yourself like I did. That was really dumb. I'm sorry that I did that. Anyway, thankfully, he's not far from the hospital, just a few miles. Got in, dropped me off at the front door. I could not stand. I had to have a wheelchair. They got me right in, did an EKG, massive problems. They threw me in a room. I was having, they weren't sure it wasn't a heart attack, but they definitely could tell it was AFib with a rapid ventricular response. So my heart rate, my blood pressure, everything was like super, super high. And then it jumped, bounced up and down. It's just ridiculous. And I don't know what happened. I've never had this before. I got this feeling of dread that came over me that was so strong and so awful. I thought any second I'm going to die. I just had this awful dread and I couldn't shake it. And it was very disturbing. And then on top of it, I was extremely flush. But my temperature was normal. That was what was weird. So anyway, I'm hooked up to all the heart monitors, and I have a doctor, several nurses, a physical, a respiratory therapist. I have all kinds of people helping me. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I have never had that. I've had AFib in the past where I've had to go to the hospital. They put me on medications, and within a few hours, it kind of works its way out. But I've never had all that weird dread and trauma, like distress. It was awful. And they had a lot of pressure on my chest. So I thought I was having a heart attack, but it was not a heart attack. Make a long story short, the doctor came in and said, we're going to shock your heart. this is not good what's happening. It's actually very dangerous. We need to get you back into rhythm. You're going to feel better. So that's what they did. They brought in a crash cart, a huge team of people. At that point, I was pretty much out of it. I can't explain how bad it was. But from what my son and my husband have said, they knocked me out. They gave me propofol. I went to sleep. I woke up to the most severe pain I think I've ever had in my life, which was them shocking my heart. And I think you could hear me scream like down the aisle. That's how painful it was. I don't know. I do remember waking up to that. And then I was kind of awake the rest of the time. I was awake. But the weirdest thing that happened is it all ended. My heart rate went back down. I went back into sinus rhythm. That high blood pressure went back down to normal like that. It was the most bizarre feeling I think I've ever had. The dread was gone. It was gone. Like within 30 seconds. Now, when you have a shock to your heart like that, I guess what happens is that from what they were explaining to me, the shock actually goes into your muscles and your ligaments and everything. So I had this uncontrolled shaking all over my whole body for like 10 minutes. And then it kind of washed its way and stopped, like from the top of my head all the way down to my feet after about 10 minutes. Really weird. So I wasn't in the hospital very long, a couple hours. They made sure I could walk. I drank a little water. I felt okay, and they sent me home. I called the cardiologist, and since I have, at home, they kept me on the same medications I was on, blood thinners. I take a kind of an anti-AFib medication I've taken for 8 years. And thankfully, I was on the blood thinners because I had went off them for a couple of years. And I have this new cardiologist who about 6 months ago said, they've done a lot of studies over 65. You need to be on blood thinners if you've had AFib in the past. You're most likely going to get it back at some point. Here we are. So I was thankful I was on the blood thinners. There's a very high risk of stroke and heart attack and different things when your heart rate's like that. And so, it was my lucky day, I guess. So I got to go home. Well, I got to go back to the hotel room, rested all night as best I could. It was very traumatic, actually. And so the next day, kind of took it easy, and then went through Thanksgiving. Had a really wonderful Thanksgiving. So when I say it was terrible and wonderful, that was the terrible. And wonderful, I had a very nice Thanksgiving. I actually got to go and see my brother Thanksgiving morning. Had breakfast with him. My husband and I drove out there, and that was very nice. Spent a few hours with him, and then came back to my son's house, and we went to his girlfriend's family, and they are all wonderful people, wonderful people. I had a beautiful Thanksgiving. They're so sweet and so kind and so nice. They were so generous to have us over, and we just had a great time. Stayed a long time, visited, talked, kind of got to know them. Very nice people. So then Saturday, another snowstorm came in. And this is the beginning of it. So as you can see, I've kind of recovered from the first half of my trip to Minnesota. Now we're getting a little bit of snow. It is just beautiful out. I'm trying to get some of the background of the snow from what's going on here. It is really, really pretty, and just in about an hour and a half it started snowing, and there's a lot of snow on the ground. It's supposed to be snowing all day. So anyway, I'll keep you updated, let you know how it goes. So it snowed all day long Saturday. I mean, they got like 4 or 5 inches of snow. My brother lives up north, so he ended up getting even more than they did. And I've come to a conclusion in my life. I've never really been in like a lot of snow and ice and all that kind of stuff. And I always dreamed of like a white Christmas or a beautiful snowy Thanksgiving. It's not for me. I don't plan on being back there ever in that kind of winter conditions. It was scary, it was unnerving. I didn't have the right kind of clothes. My feet were cold for, several days. And it's just not my thing. I can see my son other times of the year. If he wants to come out to California at Christmas or at Thanksgiving, I mean, I've got everything set up for him. He's welcome to come. I'll pay for his tickets. But I'm not going to fly anymore. I think it's too hard on me. I'm extremely afraid of flying. And I always think, I'm just going to give me a heart attack. Well, maybe it did. I don't know. But we're done flying. There's no place I want to go that I need to fly. So anyway, that was my Thanksgiving week. And I'll be honest, I am very glad to be home. I'm very glad to be back in my own bed. I'm glad to be back in my own house. I have nice warm feet again. I've got most of my Christmas shopping done. I have a little bit of Christmas shopping left to do, but pretty much I'm done. So that's my plan. I'm going to be working on just finishing up my shopping. I think I'll see if my husband can bring in our Christmas tree out of the shed this morning. My grandkids are coming over today, and we're going to be decorating our Christmas tree and I think making some cookies or something. I found this chili base. It's the Mrs. Wages chili base that you can make and can. And I found it at the Menards in Minnesota. And so I think this morning I'm also going to be canning some of that chili base. And I think tonight I'm actually going to make some chili with it. So that sounded really good to me, and really warm and delicious. And even though it's like in the 60s, 70s here, it's winter to me. I have a tile house, so everything in my house is always cold in the winter. So chili sounds amazing. So I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. I hope it was safe and healthy and happy. And I hope that you're getting ready for Christmas and on to the next holiday. I know I am. And I just want to say I wasn't able to really respond to any comments or anything over Thanksgiving. I wanted to do a Thanksgiving video and just say happy Thanksgiving to everyone and how thankful I am for all of you. And I never really got a chance. It was not only hectic, but very troublesome while we were there. So it's the way it goes sometimes. Just got to roll with it. So thanks for watching me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your holidays, whatever it is you're doing with family and friends. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring that bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.